Okay, and we're back. So in this lesson, we're talking about what is a ribbon in Microsoft Excel and actually in other Microsoft Office apps as well. So we'll use Microsoft Excel as an example. Let's get started. So as you can see on the screen, I've opened Microsoft Excel, and at the very top, you'll see File, Home, Insert, Draw, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review, View, and Help. Those are all actual tabs in Microsoft Excel, and you'll see something similar to this if you open any of the Office tools such as PowerPoint, Microsoft Office, Access, etc. It's a pretty common theme. So underneath each one of these tabs, or some people will call them menus, you'll see a group of icons and buttons. These are all components that make up what's known in Microsoft applications as a ribbon. A ribbon, simply put, has four components. They are tabs, groups, buttons, and even dialog button launchers, and we'll get into that in just a moment. So let's take a look at the home menu. So underneath this tab here, home, you'll see it's sectioned off based on a group of actual similar buttons. Underneath one of these components, you'll find things like copy, paste. If you look at this component, font, then you'll see the things that you can actually do to change your font around. So let's type in something just as an example. We'll do a test in this cell. And by the way, each one of the fields in Excel are called a cell. So we're currently in a column here of E and then row 2. So where they intersect is called a cell. So we'll type in testing Microsoft Excel, and I'll expand it out just to give us more space. So if I wanted to play around a little bit with this text here, I would go to this font menu and I can change it and make it bolded. I can italicize it, maybe underline it. If it's too small, I can make it larger and play around with it and expand again there. I can change the font color. If I click that option, then I get different color options that I can select, and I can even change the background. Maybe I want it to be yellow or a beautiful Christmas red and green. There we are. I can even add a border. So this is the border menu. If I click this drop down, then I have a selection of other borders. I can add a top border, as you can kind of see it here. I can change that and make it a border to the left, and so on. So I can play around with it and give it the look and feel I want. So just so that we can see this better, I'm going to change it back to white. There we are. And maybe put a border around that, a thick border around that whole thing. Okay. So this next section is called alignment, and this is the third section in your home actual tab, but this is called alignment, and it determines how the text displays, how it's centered, whether I want it centered vertically, centered horizontally, if I want to merge and center. Let's get rid of that. Scroll down a little bit. There we are. Alright, so if I want to kind of merge and center all of this, and now I have a larger space to kind of play around with. If I wanted this, instead of showing up toward the top, which is controlled here by top align, if I wanted it to be centered more vertically, then I would select that icon or button. And if I wanted to kind of play around with left and right centering, or keep it in the middle. So you can play around with that. This is the section that controls numbers. This is kind of your conditional formatting, and we'll get into how a lot of these others work in a later video, but I just want to get you familiar with what the ribbon is. So it's basically a set of similar tooling. This is all controlling maybe your common formatting in the home ribbon. And then if I go over to insert, then I have a different ribbon, different look and feel altogether. As you can see here, these are things underneath insert that I can actually add to the document. So for example, if I wanted to add a table to the document, I would select the range. Let's get out of this. I'm going to show you that in a different space. So let's say I wanted a table to be populated here on the screen. Then I would select table, and then now it's identifying where the data for the table is going to go. If I had data that I added, then I would click OK. In this case, I don't, and again we'll get into what these mean in a later video. If I wanted to add a picture, then I would come over to the illustration section, select picture, maybe a stock image. And Microsoft, whether it's Excel, Word, or some of the other applications, always have really good stock images. I want to insert a picture of a cat. So maybe this cute little fellow here, or let's go with that one. Yep. So now I have my cute cat who is looking up at something. Maybe he's looking up at testing MS Excel. So I can insert a picture. If I wanted to change it, I can click on it, select change, go back to another stock image, or maybe I have some stored on the device. But let's get out of that. And so going back to insert, I can select the add-on options. I can insert charts in here if I wanted to. We'll get into that definitely in another video, and some other options there. A beautiful thing about Microsoft products is the consistency. Many of the things that you can do in one of the tools you can do in others. So for example, when we talked about inserting a table in an Excel document, we can do that same thing in PowerPoint as well as in Word. You can also draw, obviously, in a Word document, but you can do the same thing here. You can select one of the drawing tools here from this section and select the color you want. This is multicolor, obviously. And then you can also kind of take a snapshot of how it would look. So let's go over to, let's get this back to the right size. Down here at the bottom on the, there we are. You can kind of control how that looks. This gesture is just something that just gives you some additional options. Page layout. How do we want to paginate this page when we print it out? Do we want the orientation to be portrait, meaning vertically long, or landscape, horizontally wide? We can change the sizing, whether we're using letter size paper, which is 8.5 by 11 inches, legal size, executive, etc. So we have many options there, as well as defining our print area. So again, several different options. We can also add formulas, and this is a very commonly used tool for compiling financial data, mathematical functions here. So you have a function library underneath this menu, formulas, that many people take advantage of in different careers. Some college students use this quite a bit, high school, and also. So let's move over to data. Data gets you into some of the more complex functionalities, advanced functionalities of Excel. So these are the options there. Again, this is kind of an introduction, so you'll see the menu here, and then we get into review. So you've added something to the document, maybe, and this applies a lot in a document like Word, where you may have spelling errors. I'll just do that just to show how this functionality works, and let's make this a bit larger so you can see it. So, and I think we're still trying to draw, so let's get out of that. There. Let's undo the change. There. Yep, so you're seeing kind of what we were doing before. I'm actually undoing a lot of kind of where we were. And let's make this smaller. Okay, so let's go into where we were before, which is review. And I'll make this bigger so that you can see it. So if I were to type spelling errors here, and maybe I type it wrong on this line, and I want to check my document, then I can go into review, select spelling. Do you want to continue at the beginning of the next sheet? So it found that this word is not in what's called the Office dictionary, but it's finding that this word is incorrect. It doesn't identify that as an accurate word. So here are a few suggestions it's offering me. It's offering me error without the S, error with the S, and then from there I can select it and it will change there. So click change, or change all actually. There. Spell check is complete. You're good to go. Well, thank you. Alright, so I'll size it back down to about an average. There we are. Our cat's gotten larger. And then, that's what she said. And then we'll go over to the view menu. From there, you see the ribbon here with several different options for your payout, your layout, mainly to view your worksheet, like changing freeze panes, arranging your multiple windows. The help menu is superb, love it. So if there's anything that you have a question about, you can actually click the contact support, send feedback, show training. They have an awesome training for all of their applications. But you can select the help window, help menu, and the window appears. There are several options, or you can search for something if you don't know. Let's say we search for spell check. So we're just in that menu, and the results are here. So it gives you several different options for spell check, checking spelling in a worksheet, grammar in Office, and several others. And then we'll get out of the help menu. Since we've clicked on, just to show you this, since we've clicked on this image here, this picture, it's giving us a different menu that's not standard to the package. So some things are conditional depending on what you select in the document or the spreadsheet you're working in. This conditional menu is called picture format, and because we selected it, see if we click off, it goes away. Because we selected a picture, it gives us a different window or ribbon with several different options, buttons here and icons. And so we can remove background. It gives you options for that, kind of changing the background up. Let's go to undo because we want to keep our original. If there are some color corrections we wanted to make, we could change it up here. We could add some transparency. So these are really cool options. If you wanted to give it kind of a border, different look, you see as I kind of hover over, the border changes. You wanted to change the layout, how things look there. So several different options, and like I mentioned before, in subsequent videos we'll get into some of those other areas. So this is really just an overview. I hope this is super helpful to everyone. Microsoft Excel, Word, and PowerPoint are some of my favorite tooling to use for office automation. So if you are interested in learning more about several of the Microsoft products, then please feel free to stay tuned to future videos. Come back often, as we will be uploading additional videos to meet your needs. If you have a special request, please let us know about that as well. And until next time, thanks so much.